Hey, Anthony here from the Best in the West. We are in Garden Grove, California. We're going to be doing a patio in the backyard. These are pretty standard California neighborhoods for the most part. They're pretty limited. And that's why an S70 is so vital out here. In other states, when stuff's in the open and you can get access to it and there's not fences, that's our access. It's not really vital to have it. Jobs like this, if you don't have the right equipment, can be about as difficult as can be if you're going to jackhammer this or wheelbarrow it or put bins outside or whatever. But with the right equipment, it's generally not very hard at all. That's the key, is to have the right equipment and to go about it right. You know, that's why I put a YouTube channel up to show customers, other people, how we do it out here. And so a lot of customers will have areas like this and they see me on here. They know I got the little Bobcat. They know I got the bigger ones for out front. So it works really good. You just have to tailor your business for wherever you live, because some places use excavators, some don't. But pumps are vital everywhere you go. Like this area here through that little gate. I wouldn't even fit through that gate. I had to take the door off of it because I couldn't get through it with the bucket. Because when I bought this Mini, I didn't realize that wasn't a Bobcat bucket. It's a Kibble or some East Coast bucket. It's 37 inches, which defies why you'd buy a 35.5-inch tractor so you can get through a standard 36-inch gate. But that bucket's a little bit bigger. But in another way, I like it because the breaker fits in the bucket, so I can haul it all better. So in some senses, it's not as good. In some, it's okay. But I'll just lift it up over the gate if I have to. And that's a 350-pound Susan hammer. I'm just mashing through this. It was 4 inches through half of it. See, I'm just scoring it right there. So then right when I hit it, it'll crack right where I put the score in it. So I can just break in bigger pieces. And then once you expose it, and there's no void, you put it up in the air, you can just pound right through it like nothing. If there's rebar or anything like that to this, I just go through it like this, and I'll punch every piece of concrete off the rebar. My guys will pull it to the side, and then we'll throw it on the bottom of the load, and then we'll load the concrete on top of it. That's how I haul. But that's my access. And when whoever poured this patio before, half of it was double, so it was like 8-10 inches thick. And the other half was just normal, 4 inches, this right here. You'll see how much thicker it gets. So basically I started about 8:30. I took out about 10 yards of concrete, and I brought 7 yards of road base in. And I don't remember what time I finished. It was fairly early, 1:30 or so, 2 o'clock. That's how quick you can do it with these little tractors. It's I think it's 7 miles an hour, this tractor does, which is much faster than the guy with a wheelbarrow. And the gas line's right in the way, but you just got to be careful through each trip. You don't want to clip that. You clip anything else, you can fix it. See, I just break it and I pick it up with big pieces and drop it. And this is where I saw. See, I'm on other concrete still. They doubled it up. So I just peeled the top layer off, and then I broke the bottom out, or maybe I just lifted it with the bucket. But whatever trade you do, you want to strive to be the best at it. For me, I want to be a custom high-end guy too, be able to do anything, whatever call you get. See, they poured it on. It's all doubled up. You rarely see this, but it's not a big deal with the right equipment and with the skill I have. It didn't make much of a difference. It's just an extra load in the trailer, so I just charge them the dump fee for that and my time. I don't try and change the game. That's my buddy Rob came out with me. He is a go-getter. We're smashing them up, throw them in the bucket, and I'll just keep hand load them up a little bit while it's on there, because there's a wall behind me, and I got to keep going around it. When you do these all the time in this kind of area, it's not a big deal at all. And you can see I load the crap out of it, because I know it's going to be exactly 2 loads. So if I don't load it like that, and then I come back, and there's a quarter load, then you're making a third trip, which ruins your day. That's why I load it like that. I knew I loaded the first load heavy, and the second load was lighter. But I wanted to make sure I'd make the second load instead of stressing out. It's like ordering concrete. I always order a little bit more. There's too much money on the job to sit there and save $200 for a yard or whatever it is. It doesn't make sense. Because then it ruins the finisher's day. They're home in the dark, and you're waiting for the next truck, and God knows when you're going to get it, So I just lift it up and let it break. There's no wire, no rebar, but it doesn't make a difference for me if there is. And this is an S70, and I'll do it twice as quick as you see anyone on YouTube doing it with this little tractor. With the big one, you can just devastate it. It's like, and tight quarters is where you see guys that are good. Anything in the open, like these other stuff videos you see. They're in the open. I mean, that's the easiest Bobcat demo work you could possibly do. You know, up against glass windows. I don't got any wood up. I pour with no plastic. That's a sign of a pro, of somebody who's confident and competent at what they do. You know, a lot of people tell me all the time, man, you put the best work up on YouTube. It's just so much better. The quality, I zoom up on it. I show the joints. I'll show whatever. I'll go back 3 years and show it, you know. But the best way I can explain it is anyone can play chopsticks. You know, I just happen to play Chopin. There's a big difference. And if it matters to you and you want high-end work, there's a difference. If concrete's concrete to you, then it doesn't really matter. And there's a lot of people on here that write in here, oh, this guy or that guy. I mean, it's a total joke. I don't even pay attention to it. It's not even laughable. Couldn't care less. But if you get up there, and you can charge differently for things you do. This is a standard job, but it's in a special access in the backyard. You know, it's not normal out front. So you can charge differently according to it. Like $5 a square foot in the backyard. So basically I had 1,000 square feet. So it's $5,000 to demo it by 2:00. You know, when you have equipment and you have heavy equipment to do heavy jobs, you can justify the money you make. You know, people say, oh, you don't finish concrete, you don't do this. Well, I made $4,500 that day. How much you make with a trowel finishing? $350? You figure it out. Who's the stupid one? You know, I don't want to be on my knees and troweling concrete with sun beating on my head all day. That's just my choice, and that's the way I geared myself to do it. We're widening this patio out too, I think 2 or 3 feet. I don't remember the dimensions. So that little tractor is bad for residential in California. I don't know about other areas how vital it would be. I think probably excavators and mini X's and stuff like that are better. They don't have access like this. By law, you have to have a 36-inch access, and that's about exactly what that is. But with the gate, I couldn't get in there. I had to take it off. And when you have the right equipment, it doesn't matter. Rebar, 10 inches thick, even with this little one in the backyard, you can see the way I'm maneuvering it and I'm pulling the pieces out. It's all leverage, you know. Like I pry a lot. I pry nonstop with the breaker when I'm doing footings or other stuff, and people have no idea what they're talking about. Oh, you're going to break the bit. You're going to ruin this. I've had breakers for 13 years that I beat the piss out of that I never blew up. I mean, I pried on it where the back end of the bigger tractor, the case is 2-3 feet off the ground. You know, they don't understand it. It's like a teeter-totter. It's leverage. It's physics. If you put me 190 pounds, 200 pounds, whatever, on the end of a seesaw and put a 250-pound guy on the other side, I'm going to go in there, right? But if you put him in the middle, he can't get me up off the ground. And that's what you do with the breaker. You put it in deeper where you can't snap it with the leverage. You know, it's just physics. It's just common sense. You're not going to, if you put the tip in and keep yanking back, 3-4 inches in, yeah, you're going to snap it. It's just the leverage, what it is. It's not that hard to figure out. There's the first round of road base I brought there, but you can pry all day long. I mean, in 20 years, I snapped one bit, and it was 4 inches long. I wore it out so bad, and I put it in a footing, and I had another one in the truck. I knew it was going to snap, and I just pried on it, just sheared it right off. But it was like 4 inches where I couldn't get down in it and teeter it, but I knew it was going to snap off, and I had to change it anyway, so I didn't really care. But I always have a backup bit on my truck, but I've never broke a normal size bit ever, and I pry with it all day long. It's just about how you go about doing it. And now I got to truck all this road base. I had to get another load. I think I got 4 yards and 4 yards, or 3 and 4. Yeah, I brought 7 in, I believe. And then, you're going to wheelbarrow this or jackhammer, and then you're going to come and wheelbarrow it or try and Georgia buggy, something like this. I mean, that's just 10 times the amount of work. I'm doing it with an F70 virtually by myself, and then I pump it with 2 guys. It's not that hard. And you could do this wherever you live. You can run it the same exact way. So we're setting it up. The next day I'm putting all the base in, Milton, and that's Javier's son-in-law, Kevin. Really cool guy. He comes out periodically. So I think it's me, Javier, and Kevin. Maybe another guy, I don't remember. But this is basically, it's not that hard to work. There's a little bit of struggle and tedious stuff. Just getting the grade right, but you can grade it with this tractor any way you want, like a laser grade. And I went through this hallway all day long. There's no faster or better way to do it. So I just got to truck this in, and then as I'm spreading it out, they're just raking it and going. Javier is, and it just every time you come back, it's manicured and it's just perfect. If he wants me to put it somewhere, he just points. I just dump it there. They move it. Then you got to vibroplate it. So we have Kevin dug out the little for the forms right there, and then Milton setting it up, and Javier's just doing the grade with me, and then we got to bring a vibroplate. Normally the soil's so good out here, you can compact it without a vibroplate with the tractor. Just fill the bucket with dirt and lift it about 3/4 high, and the way you spin and turn on it, you can get it tight as heck. But when you bring this much road base and you got 3 or 4 inches in there, it has to be vibroplated. I wouldn't even try and roll it with the little Mini. The Mini only weighs 2,800 pounds probably. It's like 27 horse, 28 horse. Not a whole lot of horsepower. It's all geared for leverage and hydraulic, which you don't need a lot of horsepower if you understand the mechanics of it. It's squirrely. Like a lot of people get on it that run other tractors, and they're kind of scared of it a little bit. A lot of guys I've seen, like off slopes and hills, and they're like, "You're going to climb that down in the pool?" And I'm like, "Yeah." But I have a bunch of experience. I've always had the Mini and the other sizes. You know, I have a Case 420 and I have a Bobcat S250. I got to bring on one of the videos. But it's just overkill bringing it to a residential job, because my Case has a 550 pound hammer on it. That's Susan, and it just pounds through anything. The problem with those hammers are they hit so hard, you got to wear safety glasses because it's just shooting rocks and stuff off your face. It's pretty dangerous, and I've been breaking I've used, I don't know, 20 different hammers, and I've never had rocks hit me in the face like that unless it was an 850 pound, not a 550. There's a setup there, easy breezy. It's rebarred up. We don't put adobes in it because you just trip on them, and it could be too high. If you get it a little bit too high, an inch from the top, the rebar will crack it. So I'd rather just lift it as I go. I bring a guy specifically, that's his only job, is to pull a hose and lift the rebar, you know. Here's the pump day here. I just bought a new hood on it because I parked this down at the beach since this particular pump since probably 2005, and the whole top rotted out from the saw there, so I just put a new hood on it. Next job I do, you guys will see it, and my buddy Greg rolled some paint on it. So it's all painted up, it's got a new hood on it. Once it starts going south like that, I just feel like it's turning into a piece of crap. So I just put a new hood on it and tuned up everything I needed to do on it. Where it's running now. So it's about 150 feet of hose. It's a cakewalk as far as a pump job. You could run all 2-inch if you wanted to off the pump. Just double the reducer up. But in business, to come out there and make the money I make and what I charge, when they see the equipment I have, me running it, my presentation, the way I PR, the way I do things, you're going to make the top dollar. And it's what you should make. I shouldn't make what other concrete guys make because it's a whole different ball game. What I have to offer than what people are bringing to the table. And that's the way I wanted to run it. You know, I want to be known as, yeah, this guy's the best out there. Why wouldn't you want to be? You know, but you can't justify charging, $15,000, whatever, for a patio and show up with jackhammers and 5 guys and bins. They're going to be shaking their head. I've been up to so many jobs where they bid this for this much. And I'm like, well, you're going to get what you paid for, and there's a bin out front and they've been there 10 days. It's like, my God, you wouldn't believe some of the crackpots out here. There's a hopper there. It's a ball valve. There's 2 discharge balls, and then there's 2 in the back intake balls. So there's 4 that go up and down simultaneously opposite way as it sucks into the cylinder and it pumps. And then you have a surge tank with nitrogen to keep it from surging, the line surging on you. So it just lays there. It doesn't move. It doesn't, like a swing tube, pull you back and forth. There's no reason to use 3/4 rock. They stopped using it here probably late 90s. Everything was 3/4 rock tamped, and you can't cut the joints right. There's too many rocks. Trying to shovel it or move it's a complete nightmare. With a pump, you don't need like 4 laborers with 2 guys on Georgia buggies, guys raking the crap from one end to the other. It's completely ridiculous. No matter what anyone wants to tell you on here, maybe some people are upset because they're never going to change, so they write stupid stuff on this stuff all the time. You're just a pumper. Really? I only make a $1,500 to $2,000 a day with my pump. Yeah, I'm just a pumper. And that's not counting everything else I do. Either I'm the smartest, richest pumper in the world, or I'm just a pumper, one or the other. I'm not sure. They're comparing owning a machinery to a bucket of trowels in a Home Depot bucket. But I don't even pay attention to it anymore. It used to be entertaining. Now it's just stupid. See, I'm going to get him a wet screed about 3 feet off this board. I'm going back towards the guy, Jose, the guy in the orange. And then they'll float that, and then they'll go off that and off the other side where Milton Jr. is. So you can just go off both sides. You don't need to cut the stakes down either if you know what you're doing. Milton cut these down, but you don't have to. They could have cut the 2x4. You just stay on the edge of the board. Because you've already screeded 3 feet off of it, off this where the guy in the orange is, Jose, and the house. So then you just go right up the middle with a 12-footer. That's 14 foot, the distance from the house to this form right here. But you could have cut a 13-footer, and you did it that way too. But Milton cut all the stakes off. Usually we don't. If you know what you're doing and you're good, you don't have to worry about that stuff. It's kind of amateur worrying about hinders or things in your way because there's ways around all of it. There it is there. We're just laying it down. That's a 3,000 PSI straight cement microfiber. And down these hallways, it's if you push the hose against the house down that hallway and then you circle around where I'm at, back down it, you can just pull straight back out to the truck and wash out. I'll just drop the hose and pull it because my rebar puller is helping them shovel. And it'll come back if I pile it up or whatever. Because I usually don't stop and wait. I just keep going because you're just so used to it. See the way I snaked it back? So I'll do a U-turn and pull it along the block wall away from the house. I'll scoot the other hose against the house, and I'll just U-turn and pull straight out. Otherwise, it's just completely intertwined and all. It's a total nightmare if you get this stuff all kinked up and trying to pull it out. But the rebar helps it stay as one piece. It gives it tensile strength. You don't have to worry about it heaving or lifting. You'd have to lift the whole thing. It's not for cracks. So it's about 8-yard patio, probably 7 or 8. I think I took 10 or 12 out because it was doubled up on half of it. But Milton and I are going to finish right here, and then Jose's bull floating it. See, there's no splashing. You don't have two dummies up front with plastic as you're dumping a wheelbarrow over. It's just, if you're in concrete and you want to be a pro, you gotta run it efficiently, most efficiently way you can do it. And you learn it over time. I mean, if you don't know out of the gate, it's understandable. Because when I started out, this pumping bit for a while was wow. I mean, I was plugging up every day. I was having a hard time. That's a slump we used. I think it's probably about a 5.5, 5, maybe 5.5. It's about right. It's been overcast lately. No beach days. It was May gray. Now we got some June gloom. It's going to break through soon, though. I think next weekend we'll hit some waves. But you want to bull float it both ways. Against the way you rotted it, and then this way. And then the way you rotted it. You can do it both. You got to do it both ways. It just densifies it better and gets it flatter. This guy Jose, he's one of the best guys out there. He's the dude you see cutting the joints by himself, like banding it, no access. He basically will cut the whole thing himself. The Miltons roll with him in the finishing groups a lot. You guys have seen him before. He comes out a lot. Mud was good. Everything was nice on this job. We got a little hung up because they had to get an inspection because evidently a jacuzzi's going to the left, and they had to get an inspection on upgrading the panel and the gas line to the left of here. So they had pushed me back about 5 days. I demoed it all out, had it all ready to rock. And that's how we snap the lines, and you just follow the line when you cut the joints. We just put it on the pole of the string. He puts it across to a mark that he put on the house, then put it on the mark on the 2x4, snap it, and he could run the first tracks that way. That's why our stuff's so straight and looks so good. And we cut them down deeper, We're not using Cadillac joiners that go a half inch and stuff like that. And when you've got 3-4 poles, it's all wavy gravy. That stuff don't fly out here. They don't even sell that stuff out here. I've cut tons of joints. I just don't usually depict myself as one of the guys working or doing it, because the customers out here, they all want somebody to micromanage their stuff and has an eye for detail. And that's what I have. Plus, I have all the equipment. I run, most of the money, 3/4 of the money, you would pay someone to demo and pump it. For me, I do it myself. But there's things that everyone likes. Some people don't like that stuff. They don't want to be up front. They want to be a finisher or worker, and there's not a darn thing wrong with it. Hardest workers you're going to see. Depends what you are. It's the idiots writing crap on here that are some laborers. Those are the fools. And you can imagine what the trolls look like. Exactly what you think. You look them up sometimes. Click on their thing and they're exactly what you expected. They will not disappoint you. See, this is just smooth. It's just two finishers and I. My day's done, so I'm just chilling. We strip it that day. Pull all the forms, take all the forms, everything. I'm gone that day. We had on the other side of the house. There's no gate, so we had to put 2 ladders to get back and forth over. I brought a ladder, and then they had a ladder at the house. So we used the torpedo cutter, or the arrow, the first one you saw. Then they run it through with this planer, and then the next stages are when you're out there on the sliders, cleaning them up as you go. So there's 3 stages of the joints to keep them clean and no residue in them, and you hit them late at the end, so no residue goes in the joints. They're all clean. When I look at a job, that's basically what I look at. I look at their joints, how straight they are. I mean, nobody's zooming in like that on here. I can tell you that. Not very many people are good at doing concrete on YouTube, but some of them are pretty good at filming and editing. I think that's their talent. Because you see them in the open on Bobcats and stuff, and you're like, well, they're decent. And then when they go in a tight area and they can't speed it up and play piano music, you're like, that guy's terrible. There's rebar and shit in it, and they're just breaking it, leaving the rebar in it. It's like, oh my God. I know right out of the gate they don't know what they're doing. There's methods to this, and you could tell, just like a finisher, if he's any good, the way he's rodding it. When I was just concrete pumping, right when the guy would start rodding it or screeding it, I would know in 2 seconds, oh, these guys suck, or damn, these guys are getting down. Other guys are like, dude, just keep going. They're just flying with me. Turn your pump up. And then that's the kind of crews I like to work for. But it was random because I got all my calls from the plant because my buddy was a dispatcher. So I got all my pump work from the concrete plant. And a lot of times there's just random people. I'd never seen them before. And if they didn't know what they were doing, or you could tell they were trying, I'd help them out. Hey, do this, dude. You better watch that. I would always help them out. I wouldn't want, A for effort. You can never knock a guy for trying. They weren't claiming they were the best. They were going for it, and I'm sure one day they're going to get good at it. They're probably good at it by now. But I would never say you guys don't know what you're doing, or, sit there and try and put somebody down that's out there trying to do this. I would help them out. I'd drop the pump hose. I'd help them rod it or whatever. Mark the joints for them. Whatever I could do to help them out on my way out. And then a lot of people wanted me to stay on jobs, and I'm like, dude, that's why I'm independent, bro, and I work on my own. I'm heading to the beach right now. They're like, oh, I understand. Then when everyone knew me, they understood. I mean, that's just A1. This is basic broom, jointed normal, and it's still just, got that West Coast touch to it. Look at that. I could stare at that all day. See, they're retooling them out. They just put the hand joiner in their sliders as they go. And then when he's going to hit the joints, he'll pull it back out. They just put it under their leg. Milton's probably got one on him too. Little scrubbing, not much. And then seal it up with a steel trowel, and you can get it real crispy. You can get the best look on it. These guys say, oh, you can't steel trowel. It's because it took them 2 hours to get the concrete down. It already blew up on them. But we're going to steel trowel the edges, but the broom opens it back up. Well, then steel trowel it and then broom it. I mean, which is it? What's going on here? Because I'm confused. But it doesn't really matter. No, what matters is the work in Cali. And anywhere you're at, bringing it up a level. Now you're getting somewhere, and people are going to know. They will notice. They will start saying, "Oh, use this guy," And personally, it makes you feel better. You want to go to each job like it's your house. That's how you want to address it. And not everything comes out perfect. Not for us either. There's been some where I look at it and I'm just like, damn. But I got OCD and I'm a perfectionist, so I look at it and I'm like, man, that doesn't look right on that spot. It happens. Look at that. There's some close-ups for you. You don't broom it too wet either, and you put a light broom on out here. And we're not brooming it wet and just leaving tracks in it. It's got to aesthetically look good. But that's why I'm the best in the West. Because I make sure, hey man, I'll say, go trawl that section again. Look at that, or look at that dip in it. I'm just standing there the whole time, staring at every square inch of it. And that's why a lot of people like me that I work for. I leave every time with, man, I'm so glad I hired you. And I've heard it so many times. It's flattering for a while, but I've heard it so many times now. It's like, yeah, thanks for the job. I appreciate you hiring me too. There's a plush patio for you. We joined it off both ends of the fireplace because it tends to crack on corners, so that's why we did it. But this was an easy breezy patio. Wouldn't mind doing 3 of these a week. Thank you very much for watching The Best in the West.